Hopefully the lag doesn't actually get me sitting my butt back down and all that stuff. But welcome back to the Cosas Verde show. We're going to cover Bitcoin price action, traditional markets, Ethereum, and then I will go ahead and take on the questions that we have. Typically, what I do with the questions on the live stream on the second half is I scan down questions from folks with an emblem next to their name. That means that somebody's part of the YouTube tier community, and usually I can only answer those questions because the stream is already an hour and 20 minutes long. So just a heads up, I typically can only get to the YouTube community members' questions, but sometimes I have a little bit of extra time to get a few other ones. So let me get to the correct time frame so I can start this show here. Let's go like this right here. All right, so it's a little late, so I had to get some water right before I did this. Okay. All right, Bitcoin. If we think of Bitcoin in a 4-zone mentality for short-term time frames, this is what we got. It's an ascending channel. However we do this, it's an ascending channel, not necessarily horizontal. But in any moment of time that Bitcoin is in, let's say the orange channel where it is now, I would be mostly neutral but leaning bearish. You can read the rest for yourself. Now, note that when Bitcoin enters the short-term time frame bearish zone, full-on bearish short-term time frame, that is a perfect spot for it to potentially bounce for a higher low at the bottom of the point of control. So it doesn't mean, more shorts, the deeper into this, but this is the short-term time frame, very short-term time frame mentality, because as in my last YouTube video that wasn't live, I noted that the clash between the 8-hour and 12-hour, which are kind of pointing down, but the daily and 2-day are like, they look like they want to continue going up strong. They just got going and they have a lot more juice. So the 8-hour and 12-hour is one rock, and the daily and 2-day is another rock. They're in total disagreement, and they're going to they're going to fight it out, and it's going to take a while. We're not going to get a resolution of this entire range very soon. It's going to take several days, most likely, for those to be in agreement or to start becoming closer to agreement before a larger move either up or down will happen. So in the meantime, given that you can't tell what the midterm timeframes are going to be doing at any moment in time, I feel that the most valuable thing to realize is midterm, we don't know. It's roughly 50-50, but short term, this is how I think of price within that context. So let's go ahead and dive in. I might start this stream off with traditional markets, because traditional markets are at a crossroad where either they need to go up to all-time highs or make a local high, which would be an all-time high, or things are going to start really accelerating to the downside. And that's going to have a large consequence on Bitcoin. It's not a 4-hour, 1-hour signal. This would be a macro signal that could be triggering, but it might happen rather soon, within the next couple weeks. So I wanted to note that on a macro sense, since the short-term sense I've already kind of highlighted here. So let's dive into some Bitcoin. I'm going to go to SPX on the 2-day chart. I recently uploaded on a daily update, a daily update video for Discord that goes into what I'm about to say in much greater detail, and to help one determine how do I, consider any fake outs that might happen on this trigger. So any community member, there is a more detailed video that I just uploaded on Discord. But the gist, I don't want to leave YouTube totally behind on this big potential signal, so I'm going to cover it more briefly. I'm going to throw on the weekly 10 EMA, and I'm on the 2-day chart on SPX. Okay, all right, and what you see here, blue lines, these are the origin lines. This bright blue thickest one right here is the master origin line, or it's the middle of everything, right? It's the average. So if I zoom out even more, like to the weekly, it is the middle of the chart. And this is going back to the 40s, 1940s back here, right? So this is like, yeah, 1954 back here. So this is the middle, all right? And that's what we're looking at that point. I'm going to go back to the 2-day chart. And I'm going to throw on, I have on the weekly 10, EMA. I'm going to throw on the monthly 21 EMA. I have a dog scratching at my door. Poor guy's sick. Monthly 21 EMA. All right. And now we're going to start zooming in. So they're different time frames. The red is the weekly 10, and the yellow is the monthly 21 EMA. And now we're going to kind of compare some stuff. All right. Let me let this dog in real fast. Oh, buddy, how's luck? Yeah, my poor dog is really sick. Barely get him to drink water. He hasn't eaten in a few days, so I feel bad for him. So I will let him interrupt my stream, okay? So deal with it. All right. Anyway, take a look at what happened in Y2K. Actually, you know what? I might use the weekly 21. I'm going to switch this. I'm going to do the weekly 21, and I'm going to make it pink. Yeah, so I'm using 221 EMAs, one of the weekly and one of the monthly. All right, here we go. So Y2K, the weekly 21 crossed right there below the monthly 21. The housing market crash, the pink went below the yellow here. And since then, pink has not gone below yellow. It only bounced. So let me take off price. Pink went below yellow. Pink went below yellow. Pink bounced on 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 yellow. You're seeing the difference here? So when they cross and you end up getting a big move or a move off that, there's going to be so it's at a precipice. It's okay. It's either going to cross and big move, or it's going to bounce and make a local high, which, because this was the all-time high recently, it's going to make an all-time high. That's what's one of those two is going to happen. The likelihood of it crossing and then making a lower macro high, I think it's very unlikely. Look at this. And if you go back in time, it's pretty much more of the same. Look. It crossed here. You didn't get quite as big as a move. Why? Because price was already below the medium line. See, this is the median line. So this signal, because it's bearish, if it initiates below the middle line of the, let's call this the stock market, it doesn't have as much space to go because it's already below halfway point. It's going to be sucked back up over the years to the median line. But when you get that signal far above this line here, the farther above it, the stronger that move is going to be, right? But even so, even below here, the pink bounced on yellow. 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 And higher high, higher high, higher high, higher high. If it crosses, it's a relatively big move down. It crossed, relatively big move down. Crossed, relatively big move down. Bounce, bounce, bounce. So there are only really two options. And because price is so far above the median line here, the effect of this is going to be pretty big. And so what I'm saying here is that if it plays out, so two conditions would have to happen. And they'll probably happen together, but they would have to happen together. Is this cross plays out in history, relatively repeats itself, and something new, since the 50s doesn't happen. So the assumption number one, it plays out / nothing new happens. And number two, Bitcoin does not separate from the traditional market. If those two conditions play out, what we have seen so far on Bitcoin's drop will be moderate compared to what's getting ready to happen. In other words, the next drop will be way bigger and badder than what's already happened in crypto. A lot stronger. The next leg down would be a lot stronger and a lot bloodier and a lot more aggressive. If you think if you think bottom's in now, it could be because it's got to pick a direction and it's got to pick it now and it could pick up. So I'm not saying it's definitely going to drop. But if this plays out, you really only have two options, all-time high or a big drop. With the assumption that something new will not happen, given that price is way above here. Now, if this signal were happening down here, because the stock market was below the median line, which is this blue, sure, don't expect that big of a drop. Either could happen, not that big of a signal, right? Not that huge. It's something to look at, but it's not it's not massive. But look how far above, I think it's like the second highest up that price has ever been from let me take off the EMAs. So from here to there, 83%, 168%, that was Y2K. Yeah, that was 2000. Back in the 60s, %68 as well. What was it now? Is it 68? To the top. Let's see here. No, it's 8. Yeah, it's more. It's 83. So it's the second highest above the median that it's ever been. And therefore, the signal is going to be a big friggin' deal. But it does make an assumption that might not be true. It is possible something entirely new happens. They always got to keep that in mind, but it's not very likely. So that would mean if that plays out, if I could put some numbers on Bitcoin, it would go straight to 4 digits. Like it'll blow through 14K. Maybe not all in one day. I'm not saying just straight down like the Wyckoff thing when it went 30,000. I don't think that's going to happen. That was a setup, right? That was a coordinated event. I don't think it'll be quite that aggressive. That was insane. That was even a stronger move down than capitulation of late 2018. I watched both happen, and that was actually way stronger, way more aggressive, way faster. I don't expect it to be Wyckoff fast, which would be, I think it started on May 21st. That was complete insanity. But I would say the move on Bitcoin would be faster than what it's been so far. Somewhere between those two areas, and it would probably blow through multiple of my targets where I've been saying that it could be a bottom target, 14 and 12K primarily. This is saying that those are not going to be targets. It's insinuating that, mostly because of the distance of this signal from the median line. It's saying it's going to be a big one, a real big one, unless something new happens, which it could be a medium one. Who knows? For the first time ever, that far above. And so keep that in mind. This is not a short signal. We're using we're using a monthly EMA and a weekly multi-EMA. And so you can't just watch this video and start shorting. No, you'll be stopped out / liquidated potentially, So don't interpret any of this as go on to futures and short, Costa said. No, huge drop. Costa said, right? I got liquidated. He's go on Twitter, worst person ever. Worst signal. No, I'm not giving you a signal. So if I had to give you a time frame of when this would happen, I would say late this week, as early as late this week to next week would be my guess. Could it happen tomorrow? Sure. Could it happen a little after? Absolutely. A lot of historically, I've looked back, and a lot of my bearish sentiment, I was just a little too early. Keep that in mind, historically. But I think I've gotten a little bit better at what I do, especially as I'm communicating, just in general. And so hopefully I'm bridging that gap, so I'm not too early. I was saying big dump is coming in late March, which dumps did happen, but then it bounced right back and made all-time highs 4 times. But you did get 20 and or 30% moves when I was seeing bearish divergence of going, something huge is going to happen, but I was way too early. I think Bitcoin kept bouncing up and made all-time highs like a month after I was getting really bearish. So historically, I've shot the gun, or whatever, went before the, whatever that phrase is. Most Americans know what idiom I'm trying to say. I overstepped I jumped the gun. There you go. I jumped the gun on that, but it doesn't feel like I am here because this cross, it is like, so it has about a 14-day window, and it's happening now, and it either goes up or it goes down. Like, it doesn't continue going sideways. It doesn't happen a month later. Like, it has a specific window, so I feel pretty confident with this time frame, but I do want to let you know I've also felt confident in the past, and I shot the gun. I jumped the gun, and I was being bearish too early, so definitely keep that in mind. Now, let's start looking at some Bitcoin specifically here. Oh, yeah, and so before we jump into the questions after I do this Bitcoin analysis, just remember that the YouTube tiers, typically there's a join button right below my average, my typical YouTube video, and if you click it, another video will pop up describing what you get, including I look at your questions first on the live chats, and then Twitter, I'm closest fair to this with the number 2 afterward. Links to the Discord are in the description section of all my videos. All right, Bitcoin. In general, it's maybe even a 20-second summary of what I said in my previous video, if you missed it, is Bitcoin will likely be a bunch of choppy mess between this line and this line. And true direction, like you actually have a real trend where you can trade on time frames bigger than 1 hour, won't happen until you get above here or you get below here. And the timing of that to happen will be roughly August 8th, because that's when the top of this, see this channel line? That's when it crosses the horizontal. And that's when this one crosses this horizontal. And it happens on August 8th. So from now till August 8th, I think a lot of this price action is going to be choppy, and any nice move up or whatever, it could just fall flat on its face after a 2% move. I don't think you're going to get moves that are tradable beyond a 1 hour time frame. And 1 hour might even be pushing it. Like, to trade this, you probably need to be on the 3-minute and 5-minute, and only using the 1 hour as reference of oscillators up, like are my Stokes up or my Stokes down, but most of your signals are on the very, very short time frames because it's so choppy. And I don't think we're going to get a big move. So that is a summary of yesterday, August 8th. Until then, I'm probably not going to do much any futures trading because I don't want to get chopped to death, which means you're in a position and you can just get stopped out. Then it goes back to where it was. You try to get a position and it stops you out. There's just no point in doing it because you're not going to get a big move anyway on time frames larger than an hour and above. All right. What am I looking at on this chart outside of this? So let me get rid of these zones here. These might be, well, I thought I had these in a folder, but maybe not. So I can make them disappear. So what I'm looking at specifically is a mixture, just 2 EMAs. That's it. I'm looking at the weekly 10. Maybe if it pulls up. Did I click the wrong thing? Or is my trading view not working? That's working. Oh, I switched it. Let me do this. Go back to my template. Bam. Yeah, there we are. All right. I was going to say, what the hell is going on? but I switched the gears. All right. So I just refreshed it by pressing my template up here. Okay. So I have the weekly 10 and the daily 10. And as I said at the beginning, the three zones are just between here, neutral, and then leaning bearish, and above this line is leaning bullish. And don't get fully on bullish until you've closed like at least a daily above this. But even then, it could be a fake out, or closed a daily below this until you're full bearish or full bullish. Okay, so just a reminder, what I think I discussed at the very beginning. That's what we got here for a 3-zone mentality. Simply throw up your no, don't throw up your lunch, but throw on the weekly 10 EMA and the daily 10 EMA, and by having that, you just have a pretty good sense of direction for short-term time frames, and you have a good sense of where your next support or resistance will be, right? Okay. And until this breaks out, it's just going to be a bunch back and forth, and these are the only things that I'm looking at until then, and this horizontal line. So I don't expect to really pay attention to much until this line. And then I will probably jump to Ethereum next, but before I get out of here, just realize that I do have a playlist for anybody new that has a video showing you how to set up your chart, and it's a 28-minute Tradingview tutorial for anybody new, and go ahead and check that out on my playlist, Learn Trading Basics, and peruse some of those thumbnails there. And we just got Timified Worldwide on Bitcoin, and now we'll move on to Ethereum. All right, so Ethereum is doing a little bit of different stuff here, but I think it's all going to rely on SPX. I think Bitcoin and Ethereum are relying, actually. Ethereum is looking much different than Bitcoin, namely because its daily 10 EMA has had a bullish cross, pretty bullish cross actually, above its weekly 10. That means the bulls are starting to win the midterm time frame war. This is a weekly 10 EMA and a daily term time frame. And when the white goes below red, the bears are in control for just trying to mix these time frames. And so for the mixture of these time frames, it's at the tipping point. Yes, they're pretty much together. Does the cross exactly mean, yay, the bulls win the war? No, because sometimes that's exactly when things turn around. If you study EMAs and bullish and bearish crosses, a lot of times what you'll see is, yeah, a bullish cross like, so one EMA is down here and another EMA is creeping up and catching up with it, and you get a bullish cross, and right then, boom, price spikes up. Yeah, that's the perfect squeeze play. However, a lot of times the way those same two EMAs could play out is that it looks bullish, and the price squeezes up right there, but what actually happens on the EMA, it just comes up to kiss it and goes right back down. Something like that. It just comes up to kiss it. But in order to come up to kiss the EMAs to kiss, so let me make this a different color, like yellow. So the yellow catches up, and yes, price does spike up right at the squeeze, but it only does that so it can bring up the yellow to touch this, and then it all heads back down. That happens a ton, right? So squeeze plays can have fake outs. And at the exact time that, that this crosses, if it starts going horizontal, it's increasing the chance that that's all that's happening. It's just coming up to kiss it before it heads back down. And this was all a fake out. So keep that in mind. This is at the tipping point, but the cool thing about that is, on the Bitcoin / traditional market video that I just did, or the first portion of this live chat, the SPX, which will either make Bitcoin really pump, which would make that 17.5 the bottom, or it's going to break down, making Bitcoin go below 10K most likely. It's also at the precipice. So Ethereum and SPX are on the precipice. Like something has to happen soon, within 14 days or so. But Bitcoin has plenty of room just to chop around. So that's the cool thing about Ethereum, and maybe not forgetting about looking at Bitcoin in general, but this could be a better chart to look at for overall crypto direction, and the idea that Ethereum is technically leading this rally. It's definitely the rally leader. So not only is it the rally leader and not Bitcoin, but it's better paired with what I feel, and you might want to feel that way too, with even a better signaler, which is traditional markets. It's better paired with it. So just keep that in mind, especially if you're an altcoin fan and you're dealing with altcoins. Looking at Ethereum might be better than comparing it with Bitcoin. I don't say that too often, but Ethereum is the leader right now. So again, the white line is the daily 10. The red line is the weekly 10. And it's this simple. Now that they are together, they're going to create a strong zone. And that strong zone is going to act as resistance if price goes below there. Keeping it that simple. So I challenge on Ethereum, if you could only, look at two different things, literally just pull up the daily 10 and the weekly 10. And for now, if price is above, generally good. If price is below, look for a rejection, in that box. And if it does get rejection, you're getting ready to scream down. That's it. Now, of course, I have origin lines on here, which have come into play heavily. I mean, here. And I had this origin line here. It goes back way in time. Had this here before these ever happened. So for new viewers, don't think I just made a line here because of these. No, my line was here. This line was here before. So these wicked up to touch my line, right? Because that's what whales do. They look at my videos and they look where my lines are and they make price go all the way to there, right? Every time. That's why this is such a great channel, because the whales are watching me now. No, but the line just works. These origin lines work. They attract price up to them, and they can attract price down to them. I was being facetious, sorry. So we have other things in play, like these origin lines here. So an easy pump up. You got overhead resistance yet again. But within this zone, origin line to origin line, I mean, just focusing on these two, you could keep analysis of Ethereum even simpler than Bitcoin, because Bitcoin has plenty of room to do fake out stuff, but the implications of price movement on Ethereum is much more severe because of this. So any time that this is used as a resistance is a much bigger deal for overall crypto price than if Bitcoin were to hit its head on something, because it's just floundering around anyway, and you don't have this cross, and these EMAs aren't together. And it's in a range that is pretty big without something, deterministic like this. And that's it. I mean, keep it. I told you I was going to keep this simple. If above, then you have a decent chance of continuation. But clear overhead resistance, sure. But in general, it's in good shape. It's not at risk to fall immediately. You're not going to have a flash crash necessarily. And I can't guarantee that. So Costa said no flash crash. Boom. It could happen. But usually, I would say if there were some type of crash, you would see this come below. And let me get rid of this box. And let me draw just these EMAs together, for example, like this, just kind of together. You would see price before a big drop. It would go below it and then use it as resistance, maybe even twice, and then start breaking down. It's not just going to break down from here, right? So this is a safety net, essentially, or a trampoline, or however you want to use it, and just use the trampoline, these two origin lines, and you have the general direction for Ethereum. And honestly, if Ethereum ends up using this as a rejection, I think the origin line down here, so if it got there pretty fast, right? So let's say it started breaking down quickly. Let me make myself small. It would be around it would be around this freaking horizontal. It would be about there, so that would actually line up perfectly. But if these two EMAs are used as resistance, this stuff here, like all this bouncing around this horizontal, that's not going to hold that price. It could make price bounce, but not reverse. So if you got a rejection from these EMAs and it came down here, yeah, you can get a bounce, but it's likely going to go down and touch this line and this horizontal. It's in general, this structure right here on Ethereum, going back from July 18th to July 24th, this is not going to hold up price if Ethereum uses these two as resistance. You could get a bounce from this area, but this will not hold it up under the conditions that these EMAs are used as resistance. Your target would definitely be closer to $1360 to $1,360. And that would be the implications of downside movement and the shapes and forms it could take on its way down. Now, a move up on Ethereum could be pretty severe. I think I covered the upside targets already. Yeah, I did. I'm going to go to the 30-minute chart. I can't remember the full-on analysis, but a lot of times Ethereum just goes from one origin line to the next. And because this top zone here is its own type of strong resistance, I almost think that Ethereum could bust through that to touch this origin line and go all the way up to 2,300. Am I saying that this is probable? No. What I'm saying is I'm identifying the boundaries of reason for the bullish cases of if there's a next move up. So let me say that in more layman term, more intelligently. I didn't say that very well. If there's another leg up, this is probably as high as it'll go until it pulls back. That's it. 2,300, it's very unlikely that it would go over 2,300 before a strong pullback. Could this be the bull market and all that? Yeah, probably not. But I mean, it could. But that's as high as it's going to go before it slows down. And it could just take its time to get up there. Like it might just keep making lower. It might not race up there, but it would probably correct pretty hard after that. Do I think 2,300 is the target? No, not necessarily. But you would have essentially this whole area down here, which is, from a previous price action. Let me get my head out of the way. Your whole zone between 1920 and 2100. That price would probably race up to there should you get a breakout above this origin line. It's going to race up to 1900. Like that it's going to go pretty fast. I don't think this stuff's going to stop it because that's what it was already tested. This formation over here, because it already just got tested. So the next leg up, it's going to be minimum 1920 and maximum 2300 before price has to correct and then potentially try higher. But I think that would be very unlikely. But it could happen. And so that's what we got for Ethereum. And again, if you did not check out my Bitcoin analysis, because you're jumping on this call late or you're only watching this Ethereum recording, my Bitcoin video from today did include some important implications of the stock market, potential signal for a massive move down within the next 14 days. So make sure you check that out. And that's your Ethereum analysis for Tuesday, August 2nd. All right, now let's go over to some questions. Did I do that in 30 minutes? Nah, that's 35 minutes, damn. But I covered Ethereum and Bitcoin. So I like to get Bitcoin done in under 25 minutes. Because I can blab a lot, but today it was just crystal clear. Like it's going to chop around, and above here good, below here bad. That simple. And before I start looking at your questions, honestly, I cannot stress this enough. If you're new to trading, like not just buying and selling altcoins, investing. I'm not talking about investing or just pissing around with NFTs. But if you have a game plan, right, and you want to learn how to trade, and you're trying to do it, and you're new, so if all those things describe you, right now is a horrible time to try to trade. I usually recommend using a little bit of your own money to learn how to trade because you don't get any emotional training when even if it's like 20 of your dollars and you have 200K to work with. It doesn't matter. It's still your money. It'll stimulate emotional response. But if it's a test account, you're not stimulating emotional response because you know it's fake. You know it's not your money. And the hardest part about trading is your emotions. Like creating a system that has a 60% hit rate is freaking easy. It's easy as hell. You just backtest. I could probably make 10 different strategies in 2 hours. Now, could I map them out and make them presentable for a person new to trading to understand? No, that would take a lot longer. I could easily make up 10 things with a 60% hit rate over a sample size of 200 data points. Easily. The hard part is your emotions. Anyway, but right now, despite that, I'm a big proponent of that. Like, and I'm right. I am right, but it's just the only thing in question is how long does it take people to realize that? But in this one case. However, in this moment, even if you are trying to get emotional stimuli practice, with a very small amount in futures, it might be worth just taking a break till for a little bit and waiting for price to pick a direction. This is not even a great environment to learn in. This might be a better time to backtest new strategies or to try to add a layer onto your current strategy as opposed to actively trading your current strategy with a small amount of money if you're new. This is a horrible time to be in trade, to enter trades. If you're already in a profitable swing trade, okay, I'm not saying that. That doesn't apply to those people if you're already in a big profit, right? Like I shorted 64K, I'm in great profit. What do you mean? Okay, yeah, sure. I'm not talking about you. But But if you're learning how to trade, this is a horrible time to try. And you can learn how to trade in other ways until you get a little bit of range resolution. And I would suggest backtest other strategies or look. One thing that's helped me a ton is I go to traditional market trading people. They trade totally differently. And the one I watch the most, he only uses one setup. Literally. Now he has setups within setups to finesse it, but he has one strategy only. That's all he does. One. Imagine only having one entry in crypto. Right? But you can't do that because everything moves together in crypto. So if Bitcoin's up, if Bitcoin's down and your strategy is always to be long, well, you can't trade for like a month, right? So his strategy, it's not really applicable to crypto because the stock market is separated a lot, right? You can have in a deep bear market or in deep red days, you can have earnings reports on a pharmaceutical company and the shit doubles, right? It literally will go up 100% that day as the indices of traditional markets are down 5%, right? So you just have scanners essentially, but the crypto you can't do that. So that might be a good resource for you if you're looking for new things to try to learn. But if you do the reason I'm saying all that is because if you do check out traditional market people and just how they do stuff to try to add a layer on or get new ideas, not everything they do can apply perfectly to crypto. Just a heads up. All right, here we go. So, yeah, I must be talking a shit ton because. All right, here we go. Kadena, UAE. I'm curious, are you from the United Arab Emirates? Kadena, UAE. All right, what are your long-term thoughts on Kadena's project, and do you still see it going to 65 cents? I don't know anything about the project. I'm not a fundamentalist. I did all of that stuff in 2017 and 2018. I spent. So if I could graph this, let's say this axis is time. So let me show you how your experience might be. This is the time axis, and this is the amount of percent time in general. And you can't the sum of two lines cannot be over 100 because I can't have over 100% of my time, right? So if one line is at 50, then the second line, has to be at 50 because they both have to equal 100, right, for my total time. So this is 100% of my time, and I'm only going to use two lines. Therefore, I guess the surface area under them stacked onto each other cannot be above this line. This is another way to visualize that. All right. And let's call this 50%. Just for scale reference. So what happened with me, and this is a weird, nerdy way to answer your question, but this is visual, and this is probably the journey you're going to go through, or at least I hope so, for your own good. But so at first, in 2017, I probably spent 100% of my time researching coins. What's the next big thing? Oh my gosh, Ardor. I remember texting my buddies like, this coin's going to overtake Bitcoin. It's called Ardor, and it does this. Oh my gosh. We've all been there. All right. Just hopefully none of you are still there. Gosh. But everybody has been there. So if you're still there, don't feel bad. Like I've been there too. All right. 100% of my time, all I cared about was the next big thing. But over time, it got less and 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 less. Has it hit zero? No, but it's like at 2%. So it's gone like this. And let's say this is 2017. This is 2018. This is 2019. And this is 2020, deep in the bear market, right? 2020. And you could see how it got below 50 right in the depths of the bear market. I started getting more interested in price than I did in projects. And it's going to happen to you too, in terms of the total time that you spend in crypto. And over time, in 2017, I cared less about studying price, but I cared more and 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 more. And now it's at 98% of my time. So 98% of my time investment within crypto has more to do with price, whether that is my YouTube channel, my Discord content, or just what I do in my free time. I don't honestly care about the projects anymore. They're all just a bunch of penny stocks that are probably going to go away anyway. I'm telling you, I've already been through this. Like, this space is so immature and so young. These are startup businesses, man. They're penny stocks. And most of them have no business even having an IPO to get listed. Like, these are penny stocks. So no, I don't know anything about Kadena. Now, to the second question, I literally don't even know a thing about it. All right. Now, will you in the future get down to 2% fundamental research? No, I mean, I might have crossed the threshold of what the perfect healthy balance, the perfect blend. I mean, maybe 80-20 is a good blend, but in a bear market, I don't know. I would vouch for 90% care about price, 10% or less on fundamentals in a bear market, because there's no sense in even caring. And the rationale for that is most of your money is going to be made with the new projects next year, because retail people who are new to crypto, they're not going to give a shit about what was hot this last time. It's all the new stuff. So wait to do your research until all the new stuff floods out, and then start getting a feel for what YouTubers are talking about, and realize, wait, they're all talking about this new thing called oracles, or this new thing called DeFi, or this new thing called metaverse, which is what happened this last time. I'm missing a Web3, this new thing called Web3. And those are the things that go vroom. And so your whole strategy is to spend as much time researching what is, so YouTuber, this is the trend. Like, this is what everybody's buying. What's going to be next before too many of them have done it? Because then it gets oversaturated like NFTs and it all just comes down crashing, right? Or DeFi comes down crashing. But you got to do it early. That's when most of your time should be in research. You want to research, okay, I think this is where the trend is going. This is the flavor of the month. This is what the biggest YouTubers are talking about. This is, so in the next thing that a big YouTuber is going to talk about, and it's going to go up 5,000%, I think it's going to be among these 5 coins. So I'm going to take $1,000 and split it in, into $200 and buy a little bit of each. It'll be one of those 5, something like that. But right now, I mean, there's really no sense. Okay, will it go under 65 cents? I don't know. Ooh, it busted through $2, and it hit the most. So it hit the most bullish target. That's kind of impressive. I did not know it did that. I really thought it was going to stop at that triangle. I'm impressed. That's a big move. But I did account for that as this is the most it's going to do. It's going to wick above its weekly 10, but I really didn't think that was going to happen. I would have given that a 10% or less chance. That's a powerful move. Will it go under 6? So I will give Kadena credit there, for sure. Not that I'm discrediting it, but just discrediting altcoins in general. They're just a bunch of fucking penny stocks. All right. Let's see here. 12-hour chart. So what you're looking at here is this dotted line. This is the bottom origin line, right? And the trend of all coins, even Bitcoin, is its previous bottom line. It's now 3 origin lines below it. And this is only 2, and that's 65 cents if it hits it sometime in the near, or that's 75 cents in the near future. But Bitcoin's 3 origin lines below its previous all-time low origin line. So shit, I'm missing one. Something like that. So yeah, I think it will. Because this is its bottom one. And it flirted with it. It got close to it. I still think it's going to break through. So I would say, I mean, it could stop at, if it takes a while to get down there, October, it could stop at 70 cents. But yeah, I would say 65 to 70 cents. I would say it's probably going to happen. I don't think this bear market's even close to being done. Like, We haven't even gotten to the point where everybody's just frustrated because nothing's happening. We haven't even gotten to that point. We're not even close. So yeah, I do think it will happen, and it might happen as late as February of 2023 if I had to guess, but I would guess it'll happen in fall, between, I would say, October to October 2022, until or up to February of 2023. And if it has not happened by then it probably won't happen. Then I'll resend my statement and I'll start saying, yeah, well, I guess it's probably not going to get there. So if it can stay above, that if it cannot hit those targets by February, I will say, okay, it probably is not going to hit it. At least with the information I have right now. That information could change, and that's what we got for Kadena. All right, let's get it. You absolutely. Thanks, Chris Crane. I went to school with a guy named Chris Crane. I wrestled with him. So I know a Chris Crane. It's not a very common name, so I thought I would mention that. All right, question for you. All right, Chris. Do you have a revised bottom target for MATIC? Ooh, that is a maybe. All right, that's the first. Okay, so I'm getting that question across the board. Well, on Trias, do you still think it'll go under $1? Yes, I do. I do. But MATIC, that is kind of a legit question. Because structurally, okay, so structurally, if we're looking at MATIC, this zone right here is 29 to 31K Bitcoin. This is the equivalent to, I don't know, 40K Bitcoin? $37. It's the equivalent to 37K Bitcoin. MATIC is. That's a big ass deal. So yeah, it's maybe equivalent to 35K Bitcoin. 35, 37. Not quite 40. But I mean, this is way ahead of everything. So I think what I would say here, instead of saying yes, I think it could, the way I would phrase that, or what was your specific question? Do I have a revised target? I would say this is a candidate for, this is among the best candidates for the few coins where I'm going to need to revise, where I will revise quickly. I don't know if it's crossed the threshold where it's obvious it's not going to hit bottom targets, but I would say the chances of this not hitting my bottom targets, the chances are reducing that my bottom targets will be hit. I would say that it's deep in there, but I don't know if it's crossed the event horizon point of no return. So I'm not going to full on revise them, but I would say let's take a look here. Top to bottom. So it would mean that this would have to hold. As if it breaks here, it's going straight to here. And that would be my target anyway. So another way to say this is, will this hold? That's 65% down. And if Bitcoin starts taking a big leg, MATIC might only go down 65%. It is possible. I would say, I would say 32 cents. It might be close to 50-50 chance of holding. So actually, that's a good question now that I'm trying to view it a different way. I think it might have close to a 50-50 chance of this end up being, so this exact visitation might not be like, it never comes down like the low. I think it could revisit the lows, right? Easily. So I'm not saying it's going to come up here and then just continue to the bull market. Like that was the low and buy now. I'm not saying that, but this horizontal being the low, meaning it comes back down to visit it and it bounces around on this shit for months and months, like a half a year, something like this, before it then does a U-shaped recovery over a couple years. I think that could be. I think it might have close to a 50-50 chance. Yeah. It's the I think it's the absolute. Not no, maybe Time Chronos is, but this is among the top 5 best candidates in all of crypto for for saying the low's in for the coin. It is something else. All right, here we go. Yes, I am. All right, so born and raised UAE. Yeah, I've been recommended by a lot of friends to go visit the UAE. A lot of people have said it's completely badass, and I think they were talking to me about it, I don't know, maybe 15, 20 years ago. They said it's more advanced, or it's got more technology, just things are fancier. Buildings have nicer things. Like it's just everything's nicer. I've heard a lot of good stuff about UAE. All right, Hex. Where's the likely buzz? So Hex, okay, yeah, I already have this mapped out, so this will be easy. Wrong chart. I thought I had Hex USD Uniswap. Which chart do I use? Oh, there are more options now. Uh-oh. Okay. Wrap tether. I know I chose Uniswap. Shoot. Damn it. Let's see here. I thought I used Hex USD on Hex Tether. There it is. Okay, shit. Oh, it already hit my targets. Uh-oh. It already went below my targets. Yikes. So I need to start buying this. Yeah, it's hit my DCA, so I need to start purchasing. Yeah, I remember when I started posting this, way back here, after it went below this wick, I was like, okay, these are going to be hit, and I got a lot of shit. And actually, though, the Hexicans were relatively nice about it. I guess veracity defenders were the ones who beat me up the most recently. But yeah, actually, Hex people didn't, I guess they actually were okay with that. I didn't get much flack for it, but it seemed unreasonable at the time because it was a big drop, and a lot of people, just a lot of disbelief, right? 90%, how could it go below? I've been posting about this for a while. I did not know it went below my target already. Gosh. I don't think this will hold. I don't think this is enough. I think it's going to hit this now. And what I just did there is your next structural support on the daily chart is here. But there's only one thing here. There's not a low to meet it, nothing. So if it breaks below this support zone, it's going to go down to the next double supported zone, which is a low and a high. High, a high, a low. Together, that's where it's going. It'll probably bounce at 2.1 cents. And it could be a really nice bounce, but in the end, it's probably going to 1.4 cents at this point. Yeah, I'm surprised it's that far down already. Good. I'm glad, because I'm going to wait to buy it then. I probably won't start DCAing yet. I'm going to wait. Yep, 1.4 cents would be my next target, because it's already broken below this, so this is definitely not going to be the low. And I don't think that will be the low either, so the next option is this. At 1.4. Good. I'm excited about buying it for a penny. Yeah, I really regret not believing him. I was just too skeptical, and Richard Hart at the time, he was still really sour about Bitcoin not outperforming everything, so I just, that connotation made me think of the possibility of maybe, this project, okay, I'm sure he's the smartest person in crypto, but I feel uncomfortable going into something from an investor standpoint of with the context that this could be just because we're sour about Bitcoin not, doing stuff, and that might not be the best motivation. I didn't like the potential hidden motivation, ulterior motive. I just smelled it was possible, but in the end, I was wrong. Like, this is a very well built. His shit works, and he is doing it for a good purpose, and he achieved the purpose. And the cool thing about Hex is it's kind of like, although it's not a monetary coin, it's more like a CD. It is a CD, but so this is one thing I actually know a little bit about. Not too much, though. But the intent was genuine in hindsight, and I do regret. I regret hesitating. All I did was hesitate, and I decided not to do it. So I couldn't tell. But and then I don't know anything about Pulse Chain, though, so don't ask me about that stuff. But what I was going to say is the good thing about this is it's similar to a monetary coin in so much that the code is done. Essentially, it's not trying to get partnerships with Walmart. No, it's a financial tool. It's done. Just like Dash and Monero and Litecoin and Bitcoin. The code's done. Let it go. It's like a clock now. It just runs. It doesn't have to go make partnerships and do like all these things to convince investors to buy it so they can pay their employees because it's a business. No. It is what it is now. Right? So it has inherently, in my opinion, because of that, less chance to fail. Way less chance. So I think in terms of crypto, it's a way safer option than fucking any altcoin out there besides Ethereum, probably. Yeah. So, and I think that of monetary coin, not just Hex, but monetary coins in general. Are they the best picks? No, the best picks are going to be the next flavors of the month, the next bull run. Probably not much from this bull run. But among the picks now, I think the safest, as opposed to the best, are your monetary coins, and I would include this in the bunch as well. All right. So I will be able to get to non-community member questions. Here we go. Hey. Yeah, so Crypto, he comes on here, asks for ICP a lot. All right, let's get ICP. This one's just straight down, so I'm probably just going to say down. Ooh, hey, it might be trying to turn around a little bit. There we go. This one, like Kadena, went above my zone. I'm a little surprised by this. This actually has a damn good chance of coming all the way up to here. It could hit. It could hit up to $13 before it slows down. That's really the next target. It might. So it also might slow down in this zone if I can like do a 3/4 line here. Wow. So if I could do a 3/4 line. So its next structure shell, it hit that almost perfectly as well. Okay. Damn, this is playing this channel beautifully. Frick. This actually looks like a good coin to trade. Not necessarily to accumulate, but just to make trades and take your profits in a tether. This is following rules really, really well. This is a pretty tidy chart, if I must say. It's very tidy. Wow. Okay. Yeah, I think it, honestly, if Bitcoin goes to I would say if Bitcoin goes to 25K, this will break above this line. Bitcoin pulls back from 25K, it uses this line of support somewhere around 950. If Bitcoin makes the next leg up to 29-ish, 28 to 29, then ICP will hit 12, close to $13. So $13 if BTC, let's say 28K plus. And I would say 1065, 1065. If, I just put 8K plus. Sorry, I need to fix that. 25K area. Again. Sorry, 28K. Yep, that's what I would say right there for ICP. It's going to depend on Bitcoin, obviously, but when the next moves happen, because this line has already been tested, when Bitcoin goes up 25K, it's going to go above it, then come back down and use it as support, or attempt to use it as support. I'm not guaranteeing it'll use it as support, but it'll come down to test it. Whether it breaks through or not, I don't know. But yeah, in the next two pushes of Bitcoin needs to push up to the top of its range, which is 25K, and then another push up beyond that would take it up to about 28 to 30K. So next two legs up, that's where this would go. And it would go, that's exactly where Bitcoin would go. So this is almost exactly where this one honestly moves very, very nicely. Wow. Yeah, this one's pretty predictable. I might actually try to trade this. This is a nice, honestly, this is a really, really good chart. However, before then, yeah, this was a little bit more chaotic. But this uptrend right here, it's looking really nice. This follows rules really, really, really nice. So maybe no wonder maybe your whole intent of asking about it is not from an investor standpoint, but from a trader standpoint, because this looks pretty nice. It's a hell of a lot easier to trade than Bitcoin since June 18th, I'll tell you that. A lot easier. Okay, that's ICP. Now, ICP is dead. Flux is the next ICP. Yeah, is Flux... Can't remember. Flux is the really strong one, or is it the one where it was strong and now it's making potential all-time, it's flirting with all-time lows? I can't remember which one it is. Let's see here. Come on, Tim. ABCs, dude. ABCs. All right. Oh, no, this one's actually a little stronger. So Flux. So which one was I thinking of? That I've had people say, it will not have all-time lows. Gosh. Like, yes, dudes, I think it will. Goodness, what was it? I thought it was something like Flux. No, I don't remember what it was. This actually looks like it's in pretty good shape. Yeah, it's actually more par for the course, but it's not getting destroyed or anything. So this one's par for the course. But I mean, you just said Flux is the next ICP. That means it's the next flop. ICP was a total flop. I mean, maybe you're just, I think your intent of what you were saying was ICP or Flux will do what ICP intended to do. That's probably what you're trying to say. But yeah, if it's the next ICP, then it's going straight down. That's all ICP's done since it came out, literally. Yeah. So yeah, you don't want Flux to be the next ICP. You actually don't want that. It's among the, honestly, from a price perspective. From a project perspective, I don't know. Maybe they really are doing the best things possible, better things than Polkadot, better things than Ethereum. I don't know. I truly don't know. But from a price perspective, what I do know is ICP has performed as horribly as anybody could have imagined, and worse than anybody could have imagined. It's been a disaster, an absolute disaster. Whew. Yeah. But I mean, there was a coin within our community, that people talked about and kind of convinced me, that's a good one to check out. And now it's off of TradingView. OIN. It was supposed to be I think it might have been an algorithmic stablecoin thing, and now that Luna's gone, that disappeared too. Just see ya. I think all my money's gone in it. That's one I chose not to sell because I didn't put a ton in there. I put a moderate amount. But that was one of the very few coins I was going to just buy and hold through a bear market because I bought it on the second large dip down. I was like, yeah, whatever. If I'm 70% down from there, I've only bought a little bit of it. And it's 70-80% below all-time high anyway. But now it's gone. Now it's all gone. So, anyway. But that's only happened. I actually avoided that entirely last bear market. I had one that I held on to that it wasn't a rug pull. The company just closed, but I sold everything about 10 days before. and okay, so here's one thing to note. The reason I sold is because the trend last time was that they redid the tokenomics before they closed the doors. So multiple projects had done that, and then that coin I was holding redid the tokenomics, so I got 10 times the amount or whatever, and I sold them all. I was like, oh, they're going to, and sure enough, a month later they were done. So there's been a project that a lot of people, we talked about recently that had new tokenomics in the bear market, and it's one I've covered a lot. But I have done my fair share of warning, and I got a lot of bad comments about it, a lot of people defending it. So I'm not gonna name any names, but bear market with new tokenomics. Last bear market was very bad. And identifying that trend early, it saved me. It didn't save me like tens of thousands of dollars or anything, but it saved me a decent chunk of cash. All right, so keep that in mind. Yeah. Or Luna version 2 or whatever the hell it is, or Safe Moon version 2. Yeah, Luna Classic, Safe Moon 2. Oh my god, it's just all happening again. Oh goodness. But alright, anyway. Question for you when you get a chance. Yeah, MATIC. Okay, that was it. Alright. What is the song in your intro? It is off of Adobe Music. And I had to buy copyright permission for it, but technically it only should last like for one use. But since it's such a short clip, it allows me to do it. And I think it is called, if I can automatically sign in, I'll try to tell you. Yes. Oh, come on. Audio, no. License history. Ooh. All right, so yeah, I'm gonna flash you something on my screen, and it's one of these. You can just look them up on YouTube. All right, I think that. Ooh. You know what? Some of them don't actually give the, some of them only gives the artist. Gosh darn it. So this won't actually give you the answer. But it's not Ballpoint or Cushy. I don't know. It's one of these. If you could, oh, sorry, I'm big. There you go. It's by one of these. I think artist and then recording company. So I don't think it's Ballpoint or Cushy. I think it's one of the others. Donald, Splasher, Leroy, Ilya, Alexei, Future Vision. It's by one of those artists. Let me see if I can. My contacts are getting dry. It's not that one. Can you all hear that? Maybe you can hear that. I don't know if you can hear that or not. I think the recording can hear that. But I don't think you can hear what I'm doing. I'll try one more. Let's see here. Nope, I don't know. It might not be one of those. I don't know. But it's probably one of those. Anyway, I couldn't find it real fast. Sorry. If I do go back and find it, I will. I should have. When I first used it, I used it longer and I credited it. Maybe I could find it, but yeah, I don't know. It's from Adobe Music, and it's the royalty stuff that you pay a subscription for, like $35 a year, and you could use up to like $5 a month or something like that. When I was putting music with my, yeah, it's a crack torch. Yeah. Yeah, I try to only have a third or a half of a black and wild a day. And even that's probably too much, but I've recently given up other habits, so I don't know. One old one crept back in, but whatever. I'm still running close to a 7-minute mile anyway, so I'm okay. I'm not hurting myself. And a 7-minute mile is faster than what you'd think. If you're not a runner, like 7 minutes doesn't sound fast, but man, it's running hard. Gee whiz. I was never a runner, so I didn't realize how hard it would be, but like I can barely, yeah, getting under 7:30 for me was pretty tough. Okay, Shazam it. Yeah, we hear. Okay, let me look at a couple of these other ones here. I think we're dipped to BTC. Yeah, BTC 12K, KDICP, MATIC. We already covered those. Kadena, millionaire to 2025. Yeah, I would put 2025 is probably when I'll cross that crypto millionaire threshold. FA financial analysis equals why and what to buy. TA equals when to buy. Yeah, TA might be where to buy. Not exchange, but what horizontal, as opposed to when the horizontal gets there. So I don't think TA gets the time axis very well. It's hard to guess the when, but it's easier to guess the where. So I like that phrase, but I would say I think it's more accurate to say FA equals why and what to buy. TA equals where to buy it, at what level to buy it, where to buy it. Yeah, where to buy it. I like that phrase. That's good. Okay, cool. I will go ahead and cover. Let's see if MATIC will go any higher real quick. Kind of interested to see if MATIC has much of a prospect to keep going up. I mean, if Bitcoin goes up, it's probably going to go up. So I'm interested to see how high this sucker can go here. Since I didn't cover that in my last little dealy. Yeah, this is a huge resistance area. It's going to have a lot of trouble getting above there. And honestly, I think MATIC, because you're going from origin line to origin line, and this next origin line up is way too high, I think the way that MATIC could get there up to $1.30 is by creeping up on this origin line. And so I think that this line here is going to continue being used as resistance. And the way it gets up to $1.30 is it creeps up it like this. That would be my first guess. Does it have to do that? No, it could break above here and then use this as support. That's possible. But I could easily see it going like this. So creeping up, just higher high after barely higher high after barely higher high after barely higher high up to $1.30. I could see that. Now, getting above there, it's going to be pretty tough. Bitcoin would probably have to, it would have a macro, like it would be a macro bottom already if it were to get strongly above there. A fake out above, okay, maybe that could happen. But yeah, without a macro low already being in, I don't see MATIC getting much above $1.30 right anytime soon. So that's going to be a pretty difficult spot. But again, I could be wrong. Let's see here. What else? Let me look at some EMAs. Let me throw some of these guys on. See what they're telling me. Hold on. So you have the monthly 10 and 21 right there. So it's not going to be attracted higher. You have the 2 week here, 2 week 21 there. You have the bunch of week 55 and 89 here. This is going to be tough. So this first box is going to be really hard to get over. You have an origin line and all sorts of higher time frame EMAs. You have the daily 200 in that. This zone is huge. I don't think I've seen that much confluence in a long time. Woo. Wow. So if it does break above there, it could actually, honestly, it could break above here. That'd be a huge break. But it would definitely fly up straight to here. So I guess I can take that back. I guess it does have a damn good chance. If it does break above this soon, it will fly up directly to this, as opposed to float. It's not going to float above those major EMAs that are all cutting through here. It will go. So I take that back. Now that I look at those EMAs, it has a greater chance of going bam, as opposed to working its way up slowly along this origin line. I think it's a little bit better of a chance for this to happen. But because there's so many EMAs right here in this area, gosh, it could go up to the next little baby horizontal somewhere. Gosh, that'd be a big break. That'd be a breakout, man. That'd be a big breakout. Gosh, I think it could go up to, I would actually increase that to $1.50. I think if it does break above its local high, I think it could get a 50% move up. It could. So I take back what I said earlier. I think, but only because I put on the higher time frames and so many EMAs are here. And structurally, you can't see that. That's why I like to mix EMAs with structure. And those EMAs are giving me a lot more information saying any breakout above here has a good chance of being a strong one. And since it's already gone up, like 180% or something crazy? 220. Holy shit. Yeah, what's another 50% from here? I mean, it'll probably hit $1.50. Interesting. Yeah, it's kind of a rare thing that you have just all these massive EMAs going through the same horizontal. You have the daily 200, you had the weekly 21, you had the monthly 10 and 21 here, huge EMAs, all in the same spot. So no wonder it got like a double peak there, because there's so many people becoming sellers looking at those EMAs because they're huge EMAs. And it just had a 220% run up to get to those huge EMAs. So it's going to be hard to get above. But those same people selling who are sellers there, they will become buyers once it breaks above. And that's why I'm saying it's going to be probably 50% move up, because people, as opposed to the process of going from being a seller to a sideliner to a buyer, which means you're selling, and then you wait for a while before you become a buyer, and then you become a buyer, which is the natural process, right? So everybody's been a bull, everybody's been a bear. Everybody's bought and sold, hopefully. So you've been a bear as well. You've been a bull, right? And it's a lot of times, like me right now, I'm a sideliner. Like, I'm not trading this chop. So that's been my process, which is the natural process. But with this breakout above here, the people who are selling will instantly become buyers. Or a large portion of them will, and it's going to be a strong move. So my structural analysis definitely does not highlight that fact, and I had to add on the EMAs to see that. So I spoke a little too soon on that. I apologize, but $1.50 MATIC can easily happen in the next 2 weeks. It really could if it gets above there. All right. Okay. Here we go. Keen to get your thoughts on Hex price. Oh, Hex price action in general. I already covered Hex for bottom. But I'll do Hex price action, and then I'll probably wrap up here. Yeah, it's only 97. That's 97.5% down. That's about normal for an altcoin. Yeah, 97.25. So, I think in general, it'll come down to $1.4 cents over time. And current price action. So really, in general, this is so obviously this rise up was better than par for the course, right? It was like the best performing anything in the crypto space, I guess, for just the lack of. That's a mostly true statement, right? I don't know if that's factual, but this is among the top 10 performers in all crypto. So this is not your average run, but in terms of height to the percent drop down, it is par for the course right now. So it's neither strong nor weak on that measurement from top to current price. What percentage is that? It's sitting okay. It's in the middle of the pack essentially. So that is my general thought right now. Here, this must have been a fib level that people bought. So because it didn't hit a horizontal. And it didn't hit did it hit a trend? Oh, it hit this trend. No, that wasn't a trend line. This was. That had to have been a fib then. Let's see here. Are people trading fibs on this guy? Where should I do this? No, I'm doing it the wrong way. How do you do it? No, I need to do a trend-based fib extension. Sorry, I'm using the wrong tool. So let's say I need to use the magnet. No, that's not the right one. No, it's not a fib line in that either. God, why did people become buyers there? That is curious. Oh, maybe just the fib retracement from bottom to top. Hold on. No, it's not that either. Top to bottom. Yeah, I don't use fib retracements very much, so don't laugh at me. No, it's not that either. Gosh, why did people become a buyer right there? That's so strange. Must have been timing on Bitcoin. That had to have been just because it was going to hit here, but Bitcoin pulled it up. It's the only thing I could... Why did it bounce there? Did Bitcoin bounce exactly on June 18th? Yes, exactly. So Bitcoin did that. Okay, so it did that because of Bitcoin. Oh, come on. There it is. Yeah, so this actually was going to hit this line until Bitcoin bounced hard. Just a heads up. These were more bots and people this was not people trading Hex. This was people buying Hex or algos buying Hex because Bitcoin went up and for no other reason. So it's heavily influenced by Bitcoin swings. 80% move up from that bottom is not bad. What's Bitcoin done? Double. So it's still it's twice the volatility of Bitcoin, which is, I guess, in terms of trading, okay. But this isn't meant to be traded. The volume on this sucks because CDs are not meant to be traded. And Richard Hart actually is very clear about that. The volume is low because it's by design kind of supposed to be low. I don't know. It's following very basic rules, honestly, outside of this. It's just your horizontals. So wherever you see a peak or a valley or the middle zone between those, so see how these wicks down right here and here are in the middle of the peak and valley? It's just pinging off horizontals. That's all, and making lower highs and lower lows. And then maybe bouncing around them. But if you literally went on your chart and did this, so about price action, so see this here, how it lines up with this, here, like make a, wrong one. Something like that. I don't know if you like boxes or straight up horizontals, but if you just straight up made horizontals where you see large wicks down that meet with other, so this wick down meets with this higher low and meets with that lower high, so that's all one horizontal. This this height up is the same as this, so this high is in line with this low, which is in line with outside of this wick, this low here. So if you literally just look at highs and lows and where they meet and make a horizontal, that's where price is respecting. And this is a honestly pretty standard movement. It doesn't look overly tricky. This wick right here, where did it crash down to? Down to that wick there. That's just that's why people bought it up there, because it's just literally looking left at a structure. So what I think about this is it's definitely following very basic trading rules. Does that give you a great indication on how high, like to which level it'll go? Not necessarily, but it's respecting horizontals almost perfectly. So in general, if it can get above this next horizontal and use it as support, so it's an if-then statement, then your next target is this. But if you get rejected from this, you're likely going to come down to, at minimum, test this first. So you got rejected, you went actually below that line. You got rejected again, you're probably going to hit this line before you come up and try it again. And if you come up and get above here, so let's draw that out. If you come up above and get above there and use that support, you're probably going to go up to the next one. And I think that's how I would interpret this price. It's an if-then statement with horizontals, because this is really not meant to be traded. So therefore, and that might be a benefit, because that might mean that because of the low volume, algos and big trick plays aren't happening quite as much on Hex, because there's not enough volume for those big players to want to play with this coin and play around with it and move it with their trick plays and whale games on Bitcoin and Ethereum. So that is really what I think of it, to go from hyper general to more specific down to lower time frames and recent price action. And so that level is 3.8 cents. So it looks like it's headed straight towards 3.8 cents, which would be a higher low on this trend line, and it's probably going to bounce. But the question is, when it does bounce, which is very probable there at 3.8 cents, does it make a lower high, or does it come up and get rejected, or does it come up and bust above? You have three options, and they're a question mark. So these lines don't help you determine which one of those three, but at least you know it's probably going to bounce from this area, because you have a trend line plus a horizontal at 3.8 cents. And my three options are lower high, another rejection, or you bust above this line. That's just three options. And at least I can deduce it down to three most likely things at the time it hits 3.8 cents. That's what we got for Hex. All right, cool. Hey, everybody, thanks for being here again. I'm going to be back. We're going to be streaming live on Thursday, 6 p.m. New York. Hopefully you like this time frame, or this, so the time of day that I'm doing this. Feel free to leave me feedback if other times would be better. That's how I moved it from 7 p.m. to 6 p.m. to better cater to the European market, who needs to go to bed by midnight or whatever. But other than that, we'll see you on Thursday at 6:30 p.m. and we'll see you next time.